obviously an improved performance on last week, mate, but obviously disappointed not to get a result again.
Yeah, boys are disappointed. They can see that they're improving, but we still need to, learn to play 4 quarters of footy. I thought there was patches in the third quarter and probably the first quarter as well. We let ourselves down, and Lauderdale kicked 3 or 4 goals, particularly in that third quarter with the wind. And the margin was too great at 3/4 time to really give ourselves a chance of getting right back into it. But to the boys' credit, it was 16 inside 50s in the last quarter. That's what we take out of the game, that we can get it in there.
Yeah, I thought the majority of the last quarter was you guys on the scoreboard and in the all-forward 50, and you held the majority of the ball. Were you pleased with the last quarter?
Yeah, I was. I thought in general play we were probably the better side in the last quarter as well. We appeared to be running on top of the ground a bit better than they did, but obviously they'd done all the work early and enabled them to get in that position. But I just thought there were signs in the last quarter. Some of our link from half back to the forward line was really good, and I think that just shows the future is bright for the footy club.
There was one play there, it was on the wing where there was a bit of link-up play, and I think Shawnee Willis got one over the back. That was a pretty impressive goal.
Yeah, that's been our style, I think, for 2 or 3 years. We try and push up the ground and get them out the back. It's just that the kids haven't quite got the confidence yet to do it all the time, but in that situation they're able to flick it around on Ride Street wing, and we work hard back to goal, and we reap the benefits there. So hopefully they take some confidence out of that, and that can become more of a regular occurrence.
What was the mood like during the week? I guess it's hard to face up after such a thumping last week, but what was the mood like at training during the week?
I get asked that obviously, which is a fair question, but if you're actually internally involved in the footy club, you'll understand that everyone is on the same page, and we're here to work hard together. So everyone off the field is doing everything they can to enable some on-field success in years to come. So we're here for the long term, and we're fully supported off-field by the board and our supporters, and the players know that. So this week we changed training up a little bit. Monday we all went off in our line groups to the gym. Tuesday let the other coaches take training. So just from a mental point of view, just change things up a little bit. I, as a coach, would do that regardless of a result like that. It just happened that was the week that we did it on. So, the guys are very close. It's a very tight unit, which it has to be. Yep. So going forward, we just got to stick together. Yep.
I thought today probably 2 of your more senior players in Tilbury and McCulloch were battled hard all day and were probably the most impressive guys on the ground.
Yeah, I think Williams down back, Junior Williams down back also gave us a bit of shape behind the ball. So he was, I thought he was really good. From the younger brigade too, though, I think Tyler McGuinness is going to be a player. I think he's played 3 or 4 senior games. I just love the way he goes about it. He looks slow, but he reads the balls, really well, and his decision making under pressure is really good. So, obviously those 2 senior guys you mentioned led the response, but I still think there's a lot of good young kids there that are starting to show each week there's improvement there.
Yep. Anyone from the Mercury Cup looking at jumping up yet, or is it just a matter of?
I'll send a few guys back because I needed them to get a bit of just get their hands on the footy. So probably not so much Mercury Cup. They've just got to keep working really hard, which they are. They're very, very young in the Mercury Cup, so there's a potential we get the Mariners back for their next the bye this week, and then against the Tigers on the Sunday we potentially get the Mariners back. So there'd be there's the opportunity that they'll be playing with us for the first time, which would be really good.
Yep. There was a lot of talk during the week about Cole Garland coming back. Was he any chance?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, the hardest thing is we have to name the sides, lunchtime on Thursday. So due diligence, we had to name him and then hope he got through training okay. It'd be pretty tough if you don't name him and he's right to go and you can't play him. So I'll be pretty confident he'll be right for the Tigers.
Obviously his experience and wealth of knowledge has brought probably a bit of exuberance to the group, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's the whole group,
yep.
Playing group and the coaching group. Just can't wait to get him out in the field because, as he said in the box today, he can teach on the run as well. So we're looking forward to having him out there against the Tigers.
Yep. Will Hugh be back after the bye?
Yeah. So obviously with his head injury, he had to have a couple of weeks, and he kind of wanted to play today, but duty of care says no. So give him 3 weeks, and he's trained all this week, so he'll be right to go as well, which is good.
Yep. The bye coming up this weekend, next weekend coming. Is there a plan in place for the boys, or?
It's a bit different this week. I think AFL Integrity are in on Monday, so we'll do the review, and then we'll have that. Tuesday/Wednesday, the guys are going back to the junior club, because that's very important. They're our future. And Thursday we'll train probably about an hour, and then I've put the challenge to the boys to make sure they work really hard leading into the Tigers game. So, and they're all self-driven, so we just got to make sure we keep on top of that to make sure they continue to do so.
Yep. Any injuries out today at all?
No, which is good. Yeah, it was just good, really good. Very happy.
Thanks, mate.
All right, cheers.
Brownie, second win in a row, mate. You pleased with that one?
No, not at all. No, look, we've still got the 4 points, which is handy, but the way we went about today was pretty disappointing.
Yep. I thought that last quarter probably belonged to North Hobart. Were you disappointed in the way the boys ended the game?
Yep, and I made that pretty clear after the game that there's a few guys coming in and smiling, and as you do, because you've got the 4 points, but we battled hard for 3 quarters, and to just drop away so quickly in the last quarter was very disappointing.
What was the most disappointing aspect for the coaches of today?
Look, we knew that it was going to be a not so much a frustrating contest, but they drop a lot of numbers behind the ball and they run a couple of defensive tags in the midfield, so they try to get a lot of congestion around the footy. It makes it hard to score, and we knew that was going to be the case, and I thought we battled hard and countered that quite well. We just didn't score, and you can see the goal to points ratio was quite poor from us, and that hurt. But the way we just dropped off in the last quarter was just putrid.
Is that just a mental thing, or is that what do you know that down to?
Yeah, it probably is. Body language probably a bit down all day on some guys. Wasn't all 22 that were battling well for 3 quarters. We had a few that were down, and they'll be told that during the week. And I think we all just dropped away in the last quarter.
Just coming off the bye, I guess, does that do anything to that? I think you obviously got a good win against the Tigers, and then you've had the bye. Do you think that's got anything to do with it?
It's a catch-22, isn't it? Because when you have the week off in finals, everyone says it's a great thing. So I'm not sure why it's not a great thing now. Players spend a lot of time at footy clubs, from November right through the season. So if you get an opportunity to have a bye and get away for a little bit, they should embrace it and refresh. And we think we did that. And to see some guys then go through the motions was pretty disappointing.
Yeah. Jacob Gilby made his return to the club today. How'd you make his game?
Yeah, Gilbs was good. We told him that the expectations from us wasn't going to be that high. He hasn't played footy for a period of time, and I actually thought he did some really good things early, and obviously his match fitness isn't where he or us we like it at the moment, and I thought he contributed.
Yeah, I thought the win played a bit of havoc on the forwards. I thought Benny McGuinness down forward, he finished with 2. He probably could have had 3 or 4. I thought he was pretty good during the day.
Yeah, look, the forward structure was something that we tried to address at half-time, and I don't think we made it easy for our forwards at all. We wanted to sit 3 or 4 together and kept bombing it on their head, and just made it, very hard for them to try and take marks. And funny enough, in the third quarter, when we were able to isolate a few one-on-ones, we had four scoring opportunities from marks. It's as easy as that.
Yeah. Big Hayden Smith, I thought he played well during the day, and then he went down in a nasty one in that last quarter. Do you have any update on his condition?
Yeah, they've taken him to hospital for observation. He looked like he had a pretty heavy concussion. I didn't actually see what happened. I followed the ball and didn't even realise we had a player down. So all reports are that he's up and he's talking and he's fine, but they've just taken him away to check him out. Yeah,
I think he's had a really good year. He best on against the Tigers, and he's probably been one of the in-form players in the comp. Is that another injury, I guess, to add on to the rest? It isn't good for the club.
Yeah, no, it's mounting at the moment. I think I said in a press conference a couple of weeks ago that we were very lucky last year with our injuries. We didn't have hardly any, and any injuries got were only like 1 to 2 weeks, whereas this year we've been hit with a stick pretty hard, where we've had some lengthy 9 to 10 weekers, and I wouldn't imagine that Hayday will be available next week, given that we're pretty serious about concussions these days.
Is there any update on the long-termers, Walshy and Boscott?
Bryce is hoping to be back training with us in 2 weeks. Thor's hoping to be back in 2 weeks, and Bryce is still in a moon boot for about another 2 or 3, so he's still a little bit away.
Yep. Grand final rematch coming up next week. Obviously a bit to work on, but it's obviously going to be a heated contest against North. Yeah, after last year's grand final.
Absolutely. I think there's a little bit of rivalry between the 2 clubs now that have come about from last year, and I know the players have got a very bitter taste in their mouth from last year, and don't really want to go into what happened in the game, but I think there's a few that want to try and redeem themselves.
Yep. Personally for you, mate, I think you got 1 more to go next week. Have you enjoyed stepping up? Obviously not under good circumstances, but have you enjoyed stepping up to the senior role? Yeah,
absolutely. That's coaching's a passion of mine, but in saying that, I love working with Windy as well, so it'll be good to get him back in the box, because I still learn a lot from him. get to run a lot of the show myself at the moment, but we do most of the planning during the week, and most of it's still a lot of things that he wants done. But no, it'd be good to get him back in the box and work with him again.
Any injuries other than Big Hayden?
Young Justin Cooper from the NT, he seemed to twist his knee there late, and then I noticed he had ice on it with crutches. I'm not sure how severe it is. It could have just been precautionary.
Yep, and Joshy McGuinness did his hammy against Tigers that he played today. How did he pull up?
Yeah, well, he said he did his hammy,
Yep.
so that's I was still debating that with him. Yeah, look, he come through the game pretty well, and I didn't expect him to play today. We thought we were going to give him another week, but he trained all week and trained really well. And we just said, well, mate, if you think you're right to go, then we'll play you. So he did, and we looked to take him off there late in the quarter and give him a spell, but we lost Haydo and Tyler Martin in his first game, so we're a bit thin and had to keep him on.
Yep, beauty.
No worries.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, guys.